Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Namaste Center. It's a beautiful day in Hendersonville, as always, and today we have a wonderful guest speaker who I'm actually going to be dialoguing with on manifesting, spiritual principles of manifesting. And Joe Gallenberger has been a regular here over the past few years and offered workshops and seminars and speaking, and wonderful teacher and great friend, and your spirit is so beautiful, and you're such a loving being. He is the message he teaches. And we, besides being a wonderful teacher, Joe has recently authored a new book, Inner Vegas, which is, it's a wonderful book on manifesting, and I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. He leads Vegas adventures for manifesting, and everyone's like, is that spiritual? And I said, oh yeah, you know, cha-ching, that's good stuff. But that's not really what it's about, is getting you hooked into the casinos. It's more just about the feedback. But besides that, he's a psychologist. He is a senior teacher at the Monroe Institute, which many of you all are familiar with, and also just recently, in the past couple of weeks, has developed a new meditation CD called Liquid Luck, which I listened to just yesterday, or 2 days ago, and it's wonderful. And so we're going to have a lot of fun here talking, so let's give Joe a welcome.
Thank you, Charlotte. It's really my pleasure to be here.
Well, we're excited.
I'm so excited about how this place is developing.
Me too. I'm excited, and a lot of your principles and your love and support, of course, has been a big part of it. So thank you very much. Yes, it's all wonderful. And you know, one thing that I wanted to start this dialogue with was we have recently been, there's a group of us, of about 20 of us, who are studying the Mary Morrissey course, Prosperity Plus, and we're going through this, and it has a video, and then it has a workbook that you work with through the week, and it has just great tools. It's real easy to do, it's fun, and you know, there's so many of us in the group that have experienced some great things from it, and you know, I just want to keep this flow of manifesting going and keep that energy alive, and so you're the perfect person to enable us to do that. So let's talk a little bit about what your ideas about manifesting are. I know you have not a different twist, but you just have something to add to it. So tell us a little bit about Inner Vegas. Let's start there.
Well, the book Inner Vegas, the subtitle is Creating Miracles, Abundance, and Health. And as Charlotte mentioned, I found using psychokinesis, the ability to affect matter with your mind or with your heart energy, to do energy healing, to manifest in your life, to bend spoons, to grow seeds in your hand in 5 minutes. All that kind of energy seems to be the same. And after studying at university laboratories, I really wanted to go find a place where I could get a black belt in PK, if you will, where I could really practice it quite often. And Vegas was ideal because the dice are guaranteed to be neutral and the slot machines respond to this energy. So if I could do well out there, I could pay my office staff at home and continue to practice. So I did that for about 5 years, and I found it an amazing spiritual path, believe it or not, where you could hear angelic choirs, see through matter, do all kinds of interesting things. And in my life, manifesting and healing took off. So I started Inner Vegas Adventure Workshops, and we've done 65 of them now. Elaine has been to, I don't know, 50 of them? And we're going, in fact, this Thursday for our next one. And there, people would wake up second day of the workshop being pain-free for the first time in 20 years from post-polio syndrome, all kinds of interesting healing, and then manifesting when they got home. So in the book, I talk about that, and then moving from there, I developed a program called Manifestation Creation Squared up at Monroe Institute as a 6-day program in this, and then a home study version called Sync Creation. So the book talks about all learning along the way and how to fight the dragons of fear that come up, how to really open your heart well to get this to go effectively.
So you talk about the heart, and a
Yes.
lot of what, it seems like the buzz, we're so grateful to have Howard Martin from HeartMath coming here this fall in October. I hope everyone plans to come, October 4th and 5th. But it really is, the beauty of HeartMath is the science of getting out of our intellectual mind, our thinking mind, and into that heart space.
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit.
Well, let's start with saying, for me, manifestation is no longer a petition or an asking or a supplication, but really a co-creative dance with the most sacred forces. And that's a position of much greater responsibility, joy, trust. And within that, you're really joining with the forces that push a seedling through pavement, the sacred primal life forces. So to me, it's our God nature joining with the whole God of God nature to participate in the process of incarnation, which is a really sacred and beautiful thing to do. And that's empowered by the heart. I think a wide open heart energy where you have unconditional love for yourself, for your fellow man, for your ego, for your shadow, all of it, that really moves it along. I was on NPR this week, and there was a biblical scholar looking at Old and New Testament definition of heart. And there wasn't much difference between heart and mind, they were joined then. But she said the main thing she found through Scripture was it continued to suggest that having an open heart was the way to the divine, the way to see the divine. And I think I find that there's no greater positive energy and more powerful energy. So we use many technologies. You mentioned HeartMath, which I think is a great one. They have biofeedback to see a coherent heart energy. They have an exercise as simple as put your hand on your heart, and it brings you awareness. The hemisync exercises we use tend to soften and quiet the left brain, which then softens and quiets the ego, brings you into right-left brain balance, which allows the heart to be accessed much more easily. So that, plus holding newborn babies, seeing the beauty of nature, beauty of music, anything that expands the heart really makes a difference. But one of the secrets we found was that most people that are good-hearted in the spiritual and New Age movement, a lot of folks are not grounded. And when you're not grounded, it's like your heart opening as a cut flower. It'll open for a few hours and then tends to fade. But if you can ground real well, then you're like a strong tree, and the energy continues to flow to the open heart, and you can live day to day on an open heart basis.
Well, that reminds me of a quote I've heard in the past. Some New Age people are so far in the clouds that they're no earthly good, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it is that balance. But how do people ground? I know sometimes yesterday I was leaving the house and Ellen said, ground. And, I'm pretty good at it a lot of the time, but how would you suggest someone ground?
Well, I think first remember who you are. And to me, we're the big X. We're designed to be in touch with highest of spirit energy and highest and most beautiful sacred earth energies and join them in our hearts. And your intention to be here, and it's a challenging planet, as you know, and as we go through things, to fully want to be here. So that, if you're not in the here and now, how can you affect the here and now? So it starts with that intention of, I embrace and I love the physical, and seeing the physical as another manifestation of sacred. So this becomes that miracle space, and like the song about the butterfly, if you're walking around always being aware of the miracle of the human hand and all the ordinary miracles, then the manifestation miracles just slip right in there as part of this, and it feels good to be here. And the better you are at being here, the better you manifest, and the more you manifest, the more fun it is to be here. So it's a cycle that allows you to continue more and more deeply ground.
Well, and obviously what keeps us from being grounded is clinging to the past.
Right.
And so any suggestions for how to be fully present in each moment?
Right. Well, clinging to the past and worrying about the future. I love meditation. Not as a commercial, there's lots of other ways too, but the hemisync is elegant in that you don't have to believe anything particular, and it's a technology that can bring you into heart space within 10 minutes, even when you're really frazzled and you sit down after a rough day. So availing yourselves of the things that are available now to make it much more easy to move into that grounded space, move into that heart open space. Really makes sense.
And gratitude.
Yes, definitely gratitude, generosity. I have a friend who goes through airports many, many times a year. He's got 100,000 miles at least on Delta. And he goes in with the attitude of who can I help the most? And he helps people with luggage and helps direct them places. And he goes in with an open heart and ends up coming out of the airport with more energy than he went in. Where most of us, a mall or an airport just drags us down. So your intention really matters a lot.
Yeah.
If your intention is to do good, boy, the energy will flow into you.
True, I agree. And I remember years and years ago when I first was into Wayne Dyer, he talked, he just said his mantra was, how may I serve? And just to repeat that mantra and be of service. And I know we were at Home Lowe's the other day, and we had big bags of mulch, and I was like, oh God, how am I going to get that from here to here? And some man, he wasn't young, I mean, he wasn't old, but he was not a young man. He comes running over, and he saw us, and he unloaded all that mulch, and he said, my mama raised me to be a good boy. And so it was like, well, thank you, and he just lit up. I mean, this guy was an angel. And, we can all do something. And I think that's so important to be in that spirit of service, because when you understand that we are all connected, and that was a beautiful gift for us to experience too.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful way to go through life with very high heart energy. When you do that too, you're no longer sticking to the fear forms of culture. They seem to drop away. And so, you begin to see things differently, hear things differently, and you begin to resonate with other people who are of good heart and are very grounded and effective in doing things like you are, Charlotte. You're in this beautiful place going. And it's a delightful group to hang out with.
It is.
And that elevates your energy further.
Exactly. And I think it's too taking responsibility for surrounding ourselves with people who make us feel good, maybe turning off the news sometimes. We want to, our conscious mind is receiving all these signals. So I think the more we can surround ourselves with puppies and babies and beautiful music and good people, all that is enhancing our heart energy as well. So the other side of that question is, so we're in this world. It would be nice if we could just stay in the Namaste Center all day and just be in this loving energy. But what about when we step out here and we get into traffic and all of those things?
Well, on the way, I don't know if any of you have had this experience we did on the way to this service this morning. We're on a small country road, and this time of year in this area, there's a lot of tourists. And so all of a sudden, we're going 20 miles an hour in a 40. And the first thought was, I bet he's going to make it through the red light, and we're not. That's what usually happens. And I said, well, the heck with that. Let me send love and light to him. And we both made it through the red light. So it's very practical.
Yeah.
The Vegas thing is wonderful because the fast feedback, when you roll dice, if you're in wide open heart, grounded, connected with highest of spirit, feeling one with everything, you get rewarded with money within seconds. If you go into greed, fear, and ego, you get punished by withdrawal of money. And so it's a way of training yourself to a more enlightened way of living because the feedback's so quick. In life, we can sometimes think negatively for weeks before it really comes back at us. Or we can think positively, and if we're looking for a soulmate or something, it may take a year or so, and we can get discouraged. So it's really nice to have quick feedback systems. And one of the quickest feedback systems I know is smile at somebody.
Yeah.
They smile back, boom, boom, really quick.
That's a great
So
way.
it's a great way to go through life seeking feedback.
Exactly.
Because it'll help reinforce for you.
Yeah. Well, I know there's a few people in here who've been part of your Vegas adventure, and I know that they all loved it. Yeah, there they are. And that's one way. You got to do one at Harrah's, I hope soon. That's closer. But that's a great thing. And, I think, too, that we think sometimes on a too limited, it's kind of, I know that we're learning in our Prosperity Plus program, to not put any limits on our dreams. And so what do you have to say about that?
Very much so. Whenever I request something or think of something, I say this, and I invite it to have surprisingly positive results for myself and everyone else. So, an example, when Lane and I got married, she had never been to Paris, so I said, yeah, I'd like to take her to Paris. And by the end of the day, I had an email, would you like to train in France? And I thought, gee, it'd be fun to go first class round trip for free, and I had tickets by the end of the day free. And we went over. Well, the unexpected was that the person who gave me the tickets ended up a business partner and a deep friendship, many good connections there. And we ended up doing a dozen workshops in Europe, including a deep healing for the Holocaust in folks in Germany, all kinds of unexpected things from that initial thing. So for me, desire is a rocket of growth. You can really use desire and manifesting to take you along the way a good bit if you stay open to highest good. And this or something better, and I'm willing to be delightfully surprised by the unexpected too.
Very well said. I love that. So you mentioned the Holocaust, for example, and obviously there's a lot of darkness around that, obviously, and now in our world there's a lot of appearing chaos and fear, particularly right now in Egypt, just to name one of many places. So what would be the greatest gift we could give to our world right now for peace?
I think starting with ourselves, having a peaceful heart. I had an image of a broken heart in much of my life. When my brother suicided, that was my image many years ago. And I changed it to my heart as a vast ocean of love. And if you come in, it's like putting your hand in water. You're fully enveloped, no resistance. And when you leave, the water goes back to complete. Maybe a drop goes away. And with that ocean-hearted image, you can hold Egypt. You can hold a lot of things in the peace of your own heart. So I would start with your own heart, being very peaceful, and then welcome all that in and hold it with great care and compassion within your own heart. And I think if enough of us do that, everything gets better.
Well, that is something that's been brought up of interest by some people here, and that would be a beautiful thing to do, to create more peace in our world and love. But I believe too, what I'm finding is not necessarily thinking that I know what peace looks like for them, but just holding that energy for the highest and best. Yes. Would you agree with that?
I think anybody who's had children knows that you can't drive their car. Their life is not. When I was a psychotherapist, I'd say to parents when they came with a struggling kid, I'd say, what do you want your kid's life to look like? And they'd say, like an interstate. Straight through, no problems. And I'd say, how was your life? And they'd go like this. And so our temptation is to try to say, do it this way. No, the journeys are sacred. But if you hold that space, I think it allows greater consolation for people, greater insight, awareness as they go through, and the journey to be more elegant and loving for them. But it's going to look differently probably than you thought.
So just hold that heart space.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we talked earlier about your Liquid Luck CD.
Yes.
That's 2 weeks in only.
Yeah.
So talk about that. It's beautifully done. And you said it was an hour. I'll tell myself here, it says enjoy the next hour. And I'm like, I don't have an hour. And it's not quite an hour.
It's 37 minutes.
Yeah, 37 minutes. So I made it through the 37 minutes.
But you got another couple minutes at the end to go. Awesome.
That's right, exactly.
How many of you are Harry Potter fans? Okay. Remember Harry developed a potion called Liquid Luck that helped him go through the day perfectly with all the synchronicity, serendipity, and good fortune you might want. So in the meditation, you're encouraged to see a vial and fill it with the highest of energies, saying, I am happy, and filling it with happiness. Praise, gratitude, love, compassion, joy, and good fortune. And then, anytime in your life you want to have an amazing day, you just take a sip of this energy potion and a Liquid Luck, and you have your great day. I put this out as a written script, and within hours got people calling in saying, it works. And now that it's out in CD, the first 3 comments were a fella who's did it, and he was working in a problem, software, hardware in a lab for 2 years, unsolvable, and solved it like that. Next person had a house for sale for 4 months in a very rough situation. No houses selling around there. He came out after it, put his hand on the ad and said, I'd like it sold, and in an hour he had an offer. And so we're having nice practical manifestation responses off of it because it moves you into an open heart place.
That's awesome. That's a beautiful. So you recommend listening to it on a daily basis?
Well,
the
the
reinforcement?
idea would be just occasionally, because once the way it's set up is every time you use this, not having to listen to the exercise, but do it in life, it'll become stronger. So you don't have to listen to it all the time.
Well, you know, the HemiSync CDs too are wonderful. We listen to those before, we just turn them on before bed and let them just play through the night. Is that a good thing?
Sure.
It's,
You're looking younger every day.
That's right, yeah.
More mellow.
Yeah, more mellow. It's called fatigue. Yeah, so that's but we
Because what MSync does is, again, bring those two brains, our left and right, into much more balance. And the right brain, I don't know how many have seen a movie called Stroke of Insight. It's just 10 minutes. A woman had a right-sided stroke. And in the right-side brain is a feeling of here now, all is one, less boundaries, less individuality, and in love with everything. So bringing that brain to speak to you more often, and HemiSync trains those pathways so that it's more available to you.
I love them. They're wonderful. Well, so we're winding down here, but what would you like to close with?
Well, if you don't like Vegas, there is one in February. The one in August and November are both full. You're welcome to come there. And if you find that's not your cup of tea, we're going to do a sync creation workshop in Hendersonville, September 27th. And we still have, I think, 2 spots left in that. And a home study course. So a lot of different ways to get into this. But mainly, I think with Manifesting, we should all sing today, Here Comes the Sun.
Oh, yes.
I do want to close with, to emphasize kind of the power of affirming versus this asking, to affirm how much we're loved by God. And there's many good traditions, but from the Christian tradition, when Jesus was asked, how should we pray, he gave the Lord's Prayer. And the Greek translation has a lot of petitions. Give us this day our daily bread, forgive us our trespasses. I came across an Aramaic translation, which I think is more accurate because it's a language that he spoke. And if you would, I'd like to read that to you. It says, Our Father, who is everywhere in the universe, your name is sacred. Your kingdom is among us. Your will is throughout the earth, as it is throughout the universe. You give us our needful bread from day to day, and you forgive us our offenses, even as we forgive our offenders. You do not let us enter into materialism, but you separate us from error. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the song, from ages to ages, sealed in faithfulness. And it has a different flavor.
Oh, nice. That's beautiful.
And so that, to me, mirrors that trust that if you can carry about miracle, about how deeply you are loved, life becomes magic, like the song.
Yeah. Well, Joe, always a pleasure. You're wonderful, and thank you so much for being here today.